Hello, good evening. Hello, Ashby Deb's family. Hello, Debbie's family. I hope this isn't too boring for you all. Oh, I'm repeating myself. Better sort the sound out, as usual. Good evening. This is the real Nictrades, thank you. I know, I've got spoofers now on Instagram. It's very annoying. Listen, I will never message you and ask you for money. And if somebody pretending to me does, then you'll know it's not me. I will never do that. So I'll never message you personally and ask how your trading's going unless you're in my group. And I've got, enough people in my group to worry about. So it's just there's a lot of scammers out there. You've got to be careful, unfortunately. So that's how it is. So let's take a look. So the key question for me is, do you know? I'm just gonna post on Twitter because I forgot. Sorry. Here we go. 1 second. And then we can get going. Right. So the key thing about markets is, and the most annoying thing about markets is they have three directions. They can go up, they can go down, and they can go sideways. And my concern here is in Bitcoin that really since the beginning, since the end of February, this price action, their drops anyway, have been corrective. They still are corrective. But really, we've been in a pretty rough sideways range, haven't we? When you think about it, I am pretty sure that this is a wave 5 sort of ending wedge kind of thing. And I feel like this was the first leg of a 3-wave correction down, starting from the high on the 14th of April. And the reason I feel like this is just the first leg is that if it's going to 3 waves, I want it to see it look like 3 waves. And there really isn't much of a little B leg here in the middle, if at all, and certainly it's not like kind of equal, but it's not enough of a B leg to make me say, absolutely, this is clearly 3 waves of correction finished. And so I feel like this is the first leg, second leg, and we are going to see another leg lower. Now, when I zoom out and I look at where might they come back to, if we think that we, for example, what the main thing for me is the 236 fib from the big swing low. So I look at the big swing where we've come from. So I've gone from this low to this high, and then I look where that 236 fib comes in. And that's usually my first target. So let's put a magnet on, make sure that we've got these lined up properly. And you can see, although we tagged it here, we didn't really close underneath it, not convincingly. If I haven't got that right, then sometimes I go from the bigger swing, which would be all the way down here, and that's kind of where we're holding up. And if we actually go from this bigger swing, that puts that 236 fib about around 50,000. But I feel like that's a little bit contrived, and that that for me, I like to really go from the kind of most recent 5-wave swing that I can see. So we'll move that back up. Now, if we have finished, if this is a wave 4 of this, so if this big rally that we've had, if this is a wave 1, 2, 3, and we are starting a wave 4, the most common retrace of a wave 4 is 38.2. So everybody hold on to your chairs. That would mean back to 41,589. Quite a long way. Now, sometimes you don't come all the way that far back in a wave 4. Sometimes you go sideways. The previous swing low, wave 4, which would mean back to 43,000, would be a good target. That's the target from the end of February, beginning of March. If we think about it though, the January low, if we retrace 50% of this swing, which is not unreal, we could come back to 34,000. Now I realize that that's really bearish, and I think that that's unnecessarily bearish because Bitcoin lately rarely really does that, and it certainly doesn't do it very much in the year following a kind of halvening. So this range that we're in may be it. And the most common patterns that you see in a wave 4 are triangles or sideways wedges or sideways ranges. So that, I think, is what we're going to be in for. Another swing lower, potentially, that takes us slightly lower than this one. If our second swing was 61.8 of the first swing, that's a very common relationship in corrections, then we would just retest the lows. Wait, I'm just not measuring it right. Hold on. There's our tool. If we measure from this high to this low and we project it from here, then a 61.8 retrace would mean a retest of the lows at around 48,000. And if we make an ABC equal measured move, we come back to 41,000. Why is 40? Well, 41,000, of course, is where that 38.2 fib is. So there's our confluence. So there's our big target if we break support and we roll over here. And, you know, if we take our time getting there and we kind of drift there slowly rather than a usual crash, then we're likely to say hi to the 200 moving average when we get there as well. So I'm not terribly bullish here. I realize, you know, normally if you get above these moving averages like this, you would look to pull back to find support and you would look to really rip away. So I'm not saying we're going to go down here, but I'm saying that if we do reverse here and head much lower, that's probably where we're going. Either retest 48 or 41,500. So that's the next question. So the next question is, well, how do we know we're going to go down there? Well, I'm going to say if we get back under, you know, I really don't want to see these daily moving averages are really important to me for a reason. So if we head back underneath these daily moving averages, and if a bearish reversal here would be more than 50% down on this big green thrust candle, I'm going to say that if we get down there, that's likely where we're going, back to 48 and potentially to 41,500. So where is that 50% line in the sand I'm going to draw? What's really amazing, you know, is how Bitcoin has so lagged while Ethereum has been pumping today. So for me, 55,688, that's the level. So as you can see, relative to where we closed on Friday, we have not got any gap left, so there's no reason to worry to check the futures. But I think a close back underneath 55,688 in Bitcoin would trigger a retest of the lows potentially and 41,000. So that's how I'm seeing Bitcoin. Now, if we hold these moving averages, if we break out of this sideways range and we break higher from here, happy days, we'll keep going. For me, there's a kind of ladder that we're going up, and my next upside resistance level, if we continue higher from here in Bitcoin, is this 786 fib level, which is up here at 61,000. So we're either going to drop down below 55,600 or 61,000. Even if we get to 61,000, I'm still going to say if we then reverse there and drop back through this level, that's still the reversal that I'm looking for. But our levels, our support levels, all move up a little bit and become a little bit higher. But I would not be surprised if this is what we saw at all. So from this low, this would be also maybe a little higher, 61,800. I don't really like that though, I have to say. But so that's where I'm looking for. And we may, you know, we may not get to 61,000. So that's Bitcoin. I'm just making sure there's no question. Have you sold your house to go all in on Bitcoin? Amy Vincent, I really do like to try and buy the dips. I do like to try and buy the dips. So for me, like, I know it's really Mickey Mouse, but I really do like high Kanashi candles. Okay, so if you've got Heikin-Ashi candles, they're like a moving average on your candle. They change color when kind of change direction, red and green. I know it is really simple. But if you on a daily chart, every time if you can see, there's very few instances where you get a green and it doesn't keep going, you know, very few. So if you wait for it to turn red and then go back to green again and then buy it, then you'll get very few false signals. Like, you know, you don't need to be a genius at technical analysis just to buy the dips that way. So for me, you know, if we've got sort of 10 green candles in a row, I don't think it's a great place for new money into Bitcoin. But I think if we had 10 red candles in the row and then I got a green one, I'd be buying it, definitely. So I do try and buy dips that way. We could have a triple top up here at 61. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we tagged this 61,000. I wouldn't be. Mainly because when you see an ABC pattern, you usually expect a 786 retrace. So that's why. Nick, any idea why the green CCI is going down on Bitcoin weekly? Because it's still correcting. So what? It's a 14 moving average, isn't it? So look, where's the 14 moving average? I guess it thinks we're still coming back to that 14 moving average. We haven't closed underneath it, have we? So, yeah, no, I'd like to see this reset. I would really like to see this CCI reset. I think that any moment, you know, you could put all the momentum indicators on. MACD, RSI, stochastic. I really like a slow stochastic as well. They're really good timing tools from when it's good to buy again. So, you know, a three wave correction here in Bitcoin wouldn't be weird, and it would bring that back to zero pretty nicely, and most oscillators back to zero pretty nicely and up again. An RSI is another one that I quite like. Let's pop the RSI on. Here's a cool trick with an RSI, because I really do think that this is a wave 4 that we're in, and for a wave 4, I really don't like the RSI to come back below 50, the middle number 50 in the middle. You can mark it with a horizontal line if you like. That's 48, so move it up a little bit. 50, there's 15. That 50% level, 50 number in the RSI works really, really well. You can see many times, look, if I move it up, how many times we come back to that 50 level and bounce off it. So, is it better to hold Bitcoin or the Bitcoin miners? Bitcoin, I think, but there you go. You bought Mara shares last week. You know, the miners they don't lose money, do they? But I think right now, this week, it's better to hold ETH, don't you think? I think Ethereum Bitcoin has made a really interesting bottom. And I think if you were going to diversify into anything rather than miners, I don't see, you know, a lot of people will tell you why ETH is terrible and bad and not going to last forever. And that's pretty much true of a lot of these cryptos. I'm not suggesting you marry them. I'm just suggesting that you trade them. And we've made a very cool inverted head and shoulders bottom here in Ethereum Bitcoin. I think we've got much further to go. And my target on the upside is up here at 0.0789 next for ETH Bitcoin. So you can see we've still got quite a long way to go. Millie said, ETH just passed 1/3 of Bitcoin's market cap and increased from 200 billion at the bear market low to 2.3 trillion. That's a massive move. That's huge, actually. So, yeah, we're going to see a bit of resistance in ETH Bitcoin. I think 0.0607. To be honest, I thought that we had a support and resistance level that might trip us up ahead of there, around here, and it didn't. So, you know, of all the ones today that were stalling, not really doing anything, looking a little bit toppy, Ethereum was the one that really didn't. Ethereum was really solid all the way. Every time we say, right, oh, this is a level for Ethereum, it just kind of blasts through it. And today was one of those days. So more to come for ETH, I think, against Bitcoin. And so ETH US dollar might have a little bit of a stall, but I still think ETH continues to outperform. Now, here's on the weekly chart, and I've got some fib levels projected from this high to this low. And you can see that they work really well. The 1272 gave us a huge pullback. The 1.618 gave us, I don't know why it does that. It just bloody hides them. Why? There it is. Anyway, this 1.618 gave us a pullback all the way back to this 1272. So if we put in the some more. Now, normally for me, the 2.618 would be the next target. So that's up here at 4,045. But there are two levels, 2 and 2.24 is sometimes kind of wobble levels. I thought we might stop at 2. That's also a Fibonacci number. We didn't. 3,100, that level is now support. So that's where we're going to be bearish if we go back below. 3,472 is the next kind of wobble level. And then 4,045 for me next in ETH dollar. So looking really good. No damage to this trend. So doing all right. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at, I got my list here. Aave. I thought Aave was all set to go out today. Like really rally. But there you go. Sideways. So, you know, we've been in this sideways correction in Aave. So here's our pullback off the lows. We've gone 1, 2, or AB and 3, and I'm thinking we're in a 4, and I'm waiting for this to start up again. So I'm watching this correction, and I think that potentially this was it within this little ABC. And we looked this morning like we were going to break these highs and be on our way, but not to be. It's really lagging, very slow. So a bit like Bitcoin, it's just not ready. In fact, I think all of the attention at the moment is in ETH. So although we had a bullish day in Aave Bitcoin, we are still in the middle of our broadening wedge. We have not broken out of our sideways range, but I am still looking for 1.59 on the upside. Vitalik became a billionaire today, did he? Okay. Perhaps he could buy some food. He's so skinny. Aave downside is the amount of tokens it has. Yes, that's true. So if we zoom out on our weekly and we put our support and resistance horizontal, really we're still stuck in our sideways range. We're looking all very good in Aave to test it. Test the top of it, but no breakout yet. So I'm going to go to log scale auto, and you can see that this is another one where I think we're in a wave 4, and wave 4s do tend to just go sideways, not pull back a lot. And so if we're lucky in Bitcoin, this is what we'll see in Bitcoin. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're waiting for a breakout of this range for wave 5. Sorry, Laura. Well, he is. Okay, I shouldn't say anything, but okay. So Aave, I do like it. I thought it might get going today, but today is not the day. So we're still stuck in our sideways range, waiting for a breakout to the upside. I would say for most altcoins that we look at, they are ahead of Bitcoin and in those wave fours. They all seem to be in those wave fours. Now, some of them look very tempting that they're about to go, and get going. So let's see, let's see if we can find one. So the next one we're going to look at, is Link. I'm so cold. Okay, my heating's broken and which, it's typical for a May bank holiday. I'm struggling to think, I'm so cold. I should have lit the fire before I started. Okay. Here we go. So Link. Is Link breaking out? I think maybe. Let's zoom out to the daily. You're going to go, wow, this is quite a messy chart. It is quite a messy chart. But this is the consolidation. We've had 3 days of consolidation. And look where we're closing relative to these other, weekly closes. I think after 3 weeks of sideways that we are creeping out here. I know we've had daily closes above here, but when you look at this on the weekly, if we can sustain this, and if we can hold above this resistance that we've got at 40.66, we're on our way to our next outside target, which is at 61, 60 to 61 in Link. So, and we're at 42 at the moment. So that's actually a really nice move. I'm in log scale. If I put it back into linear, you can see how big of a move it is to the next fib resistance in Link US dollar. So 41.27 of the kind of resistance zone I had, that's the highest. And yeah, I think we're breaking out and on our way. So I love Link. Now, we have been higher than here before, and we should mark where these highs are, because if we're going to have a bit of a wobble and come back and test support, that's likely where it's going to happen from at 44. So we are likely to get up to 44 and then have a bit of a pullback and then up again. But there we go. As long as we stay and don't close back below 41, I am licking fire. I have not looked at Electronium, no. Maybe I should. I think I did once before, but I really don't do that much fundamental analysis, and I tend to stick to the charts and let the other people do that, because you can see their footprints in the chart, and if it's a good one that everybody likes, you can usually see it. So let's next request. So these are all the charts requested by my group, which they I think are interested in. Tonight it's BNB. Let's look at the weekly. So I had a big cluster of fibs here, and we were looking to see if we could break above this cluster and get going higher from here. It was at 642. I think if we can get above 642, to be honest, we're going to have some resistance at 750. Strong resistance, 680, then 750. But we should, and I haven't got it in log scale, make 1,000 or 936, I think. So BNB is just on fire. We should be a little bit careful. The way I count it, potentially, this is a wave 5, and they can extend a long way. So, I think 1,000 is a pretty good bet, but yes, this is a breakout, and that's what we would need to look above. And yeah, Miral, I will, thank you. I will look at Matic for you at the end. Remember BNB at $5? I know. So there you go. Those were the days. Yeah. And then it just went berserk, didn't it? So 645 is our support. We should not go back below 645 in BNB. We've had a really nice breakout day by pullbacks. It's going higher. So for me, that's whatever time frame you trade. If you're an hourly trader or a 4-hour trader, buy pullbacks. It's going up. SXP. So SXP, I've got it here actually, I think. There we go. This is another one. Let's look at our weekly chart. Lovely breakout above these previous highs. Very little shallow doji so far this week, but that's fine. We're at new highs and we're holding new highs, and that's all you kind of want to know. If we look at this previous high here, this is what I mean about previous highs. Here was our big level from this high before, okay? And then when we got to this on Saturday, when we got to this high, we came back, tested this one as support. Now we broke above it today. Now this high should be support if we're going to keep going higher from here. And we can put on some fib projections for where we're going in SXP. So 6.28, I think, and 7.84 would be, if I've drawn them right. Put that on. $6.2 and 7.7 correction. That's where we're headed to next. Nice breakout today in this one. So this is what I mean here. Look, we've pulled back almost, retest. I would wait for this to reset, turn up. I would wait for my Heikenashis to go green. And that's, you know, it's simple stuff. Test that and turn up again. One of the reasons I don't like to buy it until it's doing that is, you know, I just don't like being offside. I like it. It's always reassuring, isn't it, when you put a trade on, that it sort of works. And so if you use an oscillator, you kind of time it right. So if you don't use one, then you can spend a lot of time the first time you put a trade on, you know, being offside or in a losing position, which isn't very good. You know, it's mental capital that you shouldn't really want to spend. So there you go. So SXP, I love it. Ripple was very disappointing today. I thought we might see more upside. Nobody cares about the lawsuit anymore. Everybody thinks they're going to win. Everything is good in the world of Ripple. So why aren't we going a little bit higher? Well, for me, this chart looks a lot like Bitcoin. This, when I look at this big correction that we made, it isn't really clearly three swings, is it? Yes, we had a little bit of a bounce in the middle, but it's not a really obvious three wave, which you want to see for a correction. If I go down to a 4 hour, potentially, this does look like a good three wave correction. If so, then we should see some really strong upside movement soon, if that's the case. So we've paused at a 61.8. This has a little bit of a look of a head and shoulders pattern. Let's put this like this. This had this little bit of a look of a head and shoulders pattern, didn't it? But when you reverse it to 61.8, your support is at this 50% here. And we did this in one sort of 5-second spike, didn't we? So, you know, good luck if you didn't just leave an order there. Now, potentially, I think if we lose this neckline again, we're going to come down to the 38.2, and that'll be our wave 1, 2, and then we want to see some really strong upside movement. Otherwise, this may all just be one big correction. The problem with this is that this looks like a false breakdown, and it will have tripped people's stops who are long, and now they will see it up here again, and they will have FOMO and want to buy it. And so I don't feel it so likely to drop down anymore. False breakdowns are really powerful reversal patterns for a reason. That's the reason people get stopped out and they just want to get back in again. So we should really put this the other way. So, you know, if we pop out at the top of it this way, we're probably on our way up. The next stop would be the 786 fib at 1.74, and above 1.74 I'd be looking for new highs and see how we go from there. I'm still thinking at some point though we do need that bigger correction. So this is our A leg, and this is not a corrective. We'll find out. if we don't creep higher, or if we reverse again at the 786 and do a bigger pullback, then this will be a bigger ABC before we go up again. Don't get me wrong, I'm still bullish. This is still just a correction, but I'm not sure that the correction, you know, is over. That's the only problem in Ripple. Oh, your friend loaded up in 5 in BNB? Yeah, wasn't it? Hi, Jordan. I'll try and get SNX in if I can at the end. Yeah. Maybe I should speed up a bit. XLM. So this one, let's look at the weekly chart of XLM, because this is another one that feels like it's in a big sideways. You know, it's run out of momentum. Now, I was kind of hoping, I was thinking that this here may be an irregular correction. You can see how we weren't able on this last swing higher to close at new highs on the weekly. We were back underneath. When you do that, usually the support is at this previous swing low, which would be here on the weekly. So we've entered the sort of sideways correction zone. If this wasn't ABC, and if this was a fifth wave and now we are still in our correction, then just like Bitcoin, just like Ripple that we just looked at, just like so many of these coins, this is the first swing and we've got one more swing lower before we go up again. Okay, so there's our... So we retest the lows. If we creep a little bit higher, we could retest the bottom of the range. But you know, this is sideways range. One of the things that's encouraging, and this is Bitcoin as well, normally, okay, if this rally was just a correction, then you would see a big drop, and then the rally would be really choppy and overlapping. And by that, I mean that each swing goes back into the previous swing. If we look at this one, though, it's not that. We haven't, the pullbacks, and the same is true in Bitcoin, we haven't pulled back too far. So this does still have the potential to take off, and we should keep an eye on it, and Bitcoin too. But it's just this drop, it just doesn't look like enough of a correction. Now, if this swing and this swing were equal, which they are, then sometimes you can say, you know what, maybe this was an irregular correction. We are finished and we're going to go up again. So what should we be watching for if that's the case in XLM? Well, I would say shallow pullbacks that hold. So here in XLM, a shallow pullback that held 0.508 and turned up again would give us a very nice looking inverted head and shoulders pattern here with a shallow pullback, and that would be a great long entry. So let's watch and see what happens here with this as we tip over here in XLM. If we don't go back below 0.508 and if we turn up higher again, that would be a really nice bullish pattern, and say, yeah, you know what, maybe we are going to highs and this is new swing on our way up again. We've got 5 waves up here now, I think, potentially. And so, although I've drawn this quite simply, this should unfold as 3 waves. So just expect that, okay? So XLM, still in the sideways range, but I'm a little bit optimistic about that one. And I think, you know, all of the altcoins, the big altcoins are all going to go together, aren't they? Once they go, well, not all together, but pretty. So here is Cake US dollar tether. Had a couple of targets for Cake. We've hit them all. So this is the 1.618. Now, we might not stop here. We can really extend some of these waves. Our next upside target, believe it or not, if we get above that 1.618, is this 2.618 all the way up here. You can see on the daily that we've stalled 5 days now underneath this 1.618. So we're doing a little bit of a correction. Got high Kanashi on, but you can still. So the question is, if we break above it here, where now we've got this nice little rally and we look like we're turning up again, then that'll be us on our way. So we'll have a wobble level at 51, a wobble level at 56.9, and then the next upside target is 65 for cake. If we don't get above here, it'll be another one of those 1, 2, 3, and then we go. So key level 43.41 in cake. We need to close above it to be on our way. And then you can buy more cake. You can never have enough cake. Hi Vadim. I haven't done MATIC yet. I will do MATIC now because some lovely person gave me $5. So let's do MATIC. Let's take a look. Do you know, I miss analysing penny stocks but it's amazing how similar the charts and the rules for penny stocks and altcoins are, like, and how, especially when they are newly launched. Okay, let's get to our chart. Was it MATIC US dollar mirror? Let's see. We're going to start with MATIC US dollar anyway. We, like many altcoins, I feel like this is a 1, 2, and then we're in a big wave 3. So this is wave 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3, and hopefully this was wave 4 of 3. So now we're in a wave 5. They can extend a long way, but they usually have a mathematical relationship to wave 1. So like this. So I'm going to do that and measure it from the low. And if I need my things on to make sure that I've got it, magnets. Okay. There we go. I can get out of log scale now. And I'm going to look between these levels. So I'm just trying to find confluence where everything lines up to say, where are our next targets? And when I do that with these fibs as well, they all agree. And that usually means you've got it right, which is good. Well, in this case, it's good. So I would say in MATIC, really big move last week, but the support is at 71.71. We shouldn't go back below 0.71 on a pullback. That's quite likely where we'll come back to though. And our next upside resistance is up here at big round number 1. And then after big round number 1, our target is all the way up here at 1.45 to 1.48. So yeah, looking really good. I'm just going to do one more and project from this little, if I can, do it like this. Don't want all these lower ones. Might not have enough. MATIC has gone so far. Oh no, they do, so they don't really line up, so it's annoying. I'm going to stick with the round number 1 then next. So here we are in a correction. No daily close below 0.72, and that's where we should be going next. So when we look at this is no damage to the trend at all, is it? It's a really nice, gentle correction. This time, this is where we should find support, and then up we go. So don't want to put any more pink lines on the chart, but I'm still pretty bullish, and I think that this is a wave 4. Here, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, and another nice big swing to come higher for MATIC. Okay. Okay. Listen, my group's only £25 a month. I am ashamed to say that I'm on Facebook, only because when I first started, it was really easy to do it. just like it managed the subscriptions for me and everything. But you don't have to have a Facebook profile. I don't care if you make one up, you know, of a cartoon and use a fake name. But yeah, I am on Facebook and a Slack chat. Okay. So super bullish MATIC. Look for support at 0.728 to hold. Continue higher to round number 1 and 1.48 next. Okay, the next one we're going to look at. What we were doing. What was the one that we did before MATIC? It was Cake, wasn't it? So we look at DOT. Polkadot, which wildly popular. Unfortunately, I feel like it's in a bit of the same position as Bitcoin. Not clear that this correction has done enough. Let me just get out of this drawing mode. Big wave 4. One of the useful things that I tend to do is look at how long wave 2 took, because wave 2 and wave 4 are very often equal in price. If they're not equal in price, they're equal in time. So this wave 2 bottomed here. How long did this take? So we go from this high. It looks like, you know, we've got another couple of weeks, and the middle of May would be where we would be ready to start again, going up again in DOT. And the reason I say that is, again, when I look at this drop, did we have a little pause in the middle? Yes, we did. But it doesn't really look like 3 waves, which is what it needs to look like for it to be a complete correction. When I look under the hood, I could say, yeah, maybe it was. But then I would expect to see a really strong movement. So this next pullback will tell us a bit more, hopefully. It'll be shallow. And then the next swing will be strong, really strong. So we are stuck in the middle at this 50% level. When you reverse at a 50%, very often you can pull back 50%. That could mean probably back to these lows. That would look pretty much to me, I think, like another inverted head and shoulders pattern. That would be a bullish pattern for a retest of this low here in DOT tether. So that's where I would be looking for my support. It looks like it's struggling, and it's time for a pullback in DOT, and 50% back, which would be 32.37, and back to these lows. That would be, I think, a screaming buy for a really nice bullish pattern. If we reverse here and we go through that level and down to the lows, then potentially we are on a bigger corrective pattern. But if we look left, you know, this has been a really sticky price zone, hasn't it, for DOT? So I still say correction, sideways correction, big wave 4, and we've got another leg higher. So we don't want to come back too far. We just kind of want to go sideways if we can. Okay, so 32. Back to 32 would be a very nice inverted head and shoulders pattern. Okay, thank you, Lisa. Okay, next one. Lend and HBAR, Aave. It's been really tricky, you know, while all of these alts have been sideways in their corrections. One of the things you look for, okay, so the best sign of a correction is when the 2 legs are equal. So this swing and this swing are equal. But sometimes it looks like this, where the second swing measures 61.8 of the first swing. That's a good sign of a correction too. So we're going to measure these swings here, because I did here, and I thought Lend might have finished, because this was 61.8 of this first swing. And if that was the case, we would take out these highs and boom, 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 we'd be on our way again. What you don't want to see is an ABC going the other way, and we've gone beyond it. So I think we have anyway. So on our way higher, hopefully. So we'll measure high to low, ABC. So if you have an ABC, a proper, then your trouble area is always a 786. So I think they call it a cipher pattern. So this 786 where we're at potentially could be a little bit problematic. We don't want to reverse here, but fib levels, fib retrace levels, are like a staircase. So if we don't, as long as we don't drop underneath this 61.8, we're okay. We're still in an uptrend. So we could pull back there if everything has a nasty day, and we're still okay. But below there, it will be a reversal, and we are not in the new uptrend that we think we are. Okay, so above 518, looking really good for new highs and this correction to be over in AAVE. New highs, the first target I would be looking at, 666. Okay. HBAR. Yeah, do you know, not everyone. You sold BNB at 40. I think I did too, Jordan, actually. This is the problem with crypto. Or trades, like, if you sell it and it goes up again, and you're wrong, get back in. But here's what happens, right? Here's what happens, okay? So it'll go up and up and up, and then it'll have a sharp reversal, and you go, oh, fuck, that was a high. So you sold it, okay? And then you'll wait for, and it'll go back up and retest the high, and you go, oh my God, it's going up again, and you buy it, and it's really just retesting the high to do a 3-wave correction. So then you lose again, and then you're pissed off with it. So then when it does its nice, perfect 3-wave correction, you don't want anything to do with it. That's the problem. So I would say when anything that you're in has a really nasty drop, wait for the bounce and see how the bounce goes before you sell some. Maybe trail your stop up and then sell it. And then if it makes a perfect correction or it turns up again or breaks this trend line, that would be a good way to do it. So, you know, you've got to, sometimes these trades, you have to actively manage them. You have to keep an eye on them, and it's time consuming. But, you know, losing money it hurts. And so sometimes it'll do that, and then it'll go back and retest the highs, and it'll be a false breakout. That's a typical crypto move. You've got to manage it. If it does that, okay, here's a Bitcoin chart. This is really important. Here's an ETH chart. And I know I've explained this before. Okay, but let's put regular candles on in Bitcoin, and here's a daily chart. Every time Bitcoin breaks through a previous high, like here, when we retested it here, if it's going to keep going, it does it with a really strong move. Every time. Here's this high, really strong green candle. And that works on all time frames, okay? When you are breaking out, you want to see a really strong green candle that keeps going. Okay, here we had this consolidation on the highs. Broke out, really strong green candle. So if you're looking at something and it goes up and it retests the highs and it does that, it's not breaking out. If it is, it would just go in your face. So here, when we broke these highs, look at this green candle that we got, really strong and kept going, okay? I'm a big fan of taking partial profits because you still have a little soldier in the battlefield if it keeps marching up the hill, haven't you? So I think partial is take partial profits is a really good way to go about it. Right, let's find some HBAR. So Hedera Hashgraph. I think that this is a really nice bull flag. This is a weekly chart of HBAR. And we have made, in this one, you can see it on the daily, a very nice A, B, C leg correction. I'm all ready for this to go up again. Sometimes though, the market throws in an X wave or a little retest of the lows, because so far this has been pretty quiet. I think we've got 5 waves up now, so I'm ready for a 3-wave pullback to see what that does to buy HBAR. So do you want to buy it here? No. This daily 50s, daily moving averages are the wrong way round. And when you come back to your moving averages the wrong way round, you usually see a double bottom or a double top. For example, here, if we were going to be selling HBAR here, when we came back to these moving averages, they were the wrong way round. So we ended up coming all the way back. Look, false break, but you need your moving averages the right way round. So if you're going up, you need your lower one above the higher one. So 20 above the 50, above the 200, 100 if you use it. And here they are the wrong way round. 20 is underneath. So we're set for shorts. This is a sell setup if we close back underneath this 20 moving average to retest the high. So although I'm kind of really liking this bullish pattern, it feels like it needs to have a deeper pullback from here maybe. A close above this daily 50 moving average though, and this fib level here at 0.337, that would be bullish for me. A daily close above 0.337, I think we'll retest this trend line at high, and then the target is 0.533. So I don't see a head and shoulders pattern here, but I would like to see a pullback or a retest of support. If you have time, can I do perp? Yeah, I will. You mean HBAR perp chart? Okay, so you don't have as much, listen, you don't have as much history. So when you're looking at this HBAR perp, it doesn't look like a bullish flag, does it? Because you haven't got the same, history to give you the levels either. So I actually, if I was trading this, the perpetual futures at FTX, I would still do the same thing. So because all we're looking at is part of this flag pattern, which is actually like this. So not so much to go off. Let's do it like this. Anyway, we could do this from here. So all we've really got is this big swing in the middle. We're going to use that for our fibs. If this is all we've got, we're going to use. So this is a 61.8. That means that this 50% level is your support. And if that breaks, you're going down to the 38.2 at least minimum, and potentially the 236. So let's put them on the right where I can see them. No, that's not good. Okay. So if we close below 0.309, we're going to drop down to 0.282 and potentially 0.25. And that will be another one of those head and shoulders pattern bottoms, if that happens. If we don't hold those support, then we're going to keep going down. So, yeah. Now, this is not a bearish reversal pattern yet, and it may not turn into one. Normally, if you have a big thrust green candle and then a doji, the bearish reversal would be confirmed if you closed more than 50% down on this green candle, and we haven't done that. And so we could just do a shallow pullback here and carry on higher, and that would be fine. If we do that, then a close above 0.335, which is the 61.8, means this 786 next at 0.373, and so on. So not a reversal yet, but potentially could turn into one. We need to be a little bit careful with HBAR. Okay. I'm just going to go back to There's a little bit more history actually there with Binance, isn't there? Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is Zilliqa and then FILDA. So Zilliqa. So okay. A double top. A double top is always a little bit of a warning that you are, doesn't mean that you are, it's a top or that you're not ever going to go up again. It means that you stop going up for now and you're in a sideways range and or are still in a correction. So what are we going to do from here? Let's see where these fibs are, because if we look at the daily or the weekly, again, this is another one like Bitcoin where we're in sideways consolidation after a big drop. And we want to know, is this rally the one? Or do we need one more pullback before we are going up again? So Ripple, Bitcoin, all of the alts that we've looked at are very, very similar patterns in this respect. So here we are. Clearly, if we break this previous high at 0.22, we're still going up. No worries about that. And if we look at this double bottom of this sideways range that we're in here on the hourly, if we break the bottom of this sideways range, we're going to drop twice this range because those are the rules. So twice this distance. It's from the high to the low. That means we're going to come down to down here. So Zilliqa, not really clear yet that we're on our way up again. And I would not be surprised if one does it, they're all going to do it. This is A, B, C, and potentially, you know, this C leg could be an equal measured move before we go up again. So let's measure where that would mean. So if we do roll over here, now that we're looking a little bit toppy, 0.139 down here would be our first target. So if we break this double top, double bottom, 0.139, and our second target, the equal measured move, is 0.0864. So if you're long and you've been holding along and you're a hodler, you do not really want to see a close underneath 0.182. In fact, you don't really want to see a close under this low now, do you? So underneath 0.198 would make me sell at least half and wait for the pullback to buy back at a better price. So still sideways, unfortunately, for Zilliqa, not ready to go up again yet. FILDA was asked for. I don't think this is the one that I've looked at before. In fact, I'm pretty sure I have not looked at this one before. Okay. Ta-da, here we go. So I hate it when I have this huge opening range, you know, it makes me very wary that you can't, just that you can't rely on all these prices, you know. So anyway, we're going to do it for now. We're going to put our prices on from low to high because it's clearly that's where we opened, and we'll see how we go and if they help us. So did we tag the 886? Because that would, yes, we did. So first leg, second leg. Okay, this is nice and simple. I think that we should, you know, when coins start, they do a lot of three-wave trading. So we've done a big 3 waves down, and we'll do 3. And they tend to do that going sideways to find their fee. In this one, I feel like we've gone A, and this is our B, and we've got one more leg higher. And then we'll see what happens then. There's a fib rule that if you reverse at this 886 fib, your target is the 50. Your first target is 50%. Second target's up here at the 236. So I would expect after this little simple pullback here to turn higher soon. And my target is 1.3861. If we close and continue above 1.3861, then we could look for 1.92 in FILDA, and then we'll see where we go from there and how it's behaving. They can do sideways for quite a while they make a base. Okay, next one we're going to look at is Coty. I can never remember that one either. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Why is it so cold? That's okay. Let's see. I sometimes write on my charts and post them. There we go. Coty. So let's look at the weekly chart with regular candles, because this is another altcoin in a big wave 4. So let's put log scale. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. And then from here, we should see a big wave 5. One of the reasons you can tell is the relationship between wave 3 and wave 1 is absolutely massively. Here we go. They usually have a fib relationship, which I'm not able to seem to be having trouble with my. Anyway, it's not a very good one, but good enough, I think. So is this correction over? When are we going to be ready in Coty to be going up again? Because it looks quite potentially like it could be, doesn't it? So yeah, Coty, I do, you know, we've been looking at this in the group. The problem is, this is one of those ones where the daily moving averages are the wrong way round. The good news is we got above them, and so I'm a little bit more hopeful, but it still feels like it needs to make a bit of a base here. And so if this 5 waves up is believable, we should see a nice 3-wave correction, maybe 50% back of this rally, maybe a nice head and shoulders pattern, and that would be good. Perfect. That's what I'd like to see. So 0.329, if we extend lower, maybe 0.306. Remember, this is 1, 2, then wave 2 could come back all the way back 886 if it wanted to. So it could be a deep retrace, but let's look for a shallow one. We've got flat sideways moving averages, so it doesn't mean a trend yet until we turn away and up higher. No, listen, honestly, the guy that put I had a new boiler 2 months ago, but I've done something to the pressure. So although the boiler's working, the water pressure's not sending the heat around, and I can't get it. I just can't get it. Anyway, I should have lit the fire. That's my fault. So yeah, I like this as a lovely big bull flag. I would like to see a shallow pullback, 0.32, something like that, and then turn up higher again in Coty. Okay? And then our target would be this trend line, and then a break of this trend line, we see our next leg higher. So let's go back to log auto. Wave 1 and wave 5 usually have a relationship, although I'm sure nobody envisioned that the fibs would be this stretch. But if that's the low from here, I think I'm going to say 0.845. Yeah, look at that. 828. Between 828 and 845 is the next upside target. And then, where's that 2.618 come? Where? And then 1.2. Okay, so 0.828, 0.84, and then 1.2. I really do like Coty, but I think we need a little dip to buy it first, okay? Be patient this week. Yeah, I need all of my radio. That's exactly what I need to do. I could not find the key. So anyway, thank you for the advice, though. Thank you. I don't know if you missed it. Like, anyway, never mind. We'll talk about that another week. Okay, Coty, KSM, UTK, KSM. I need to just curl up with Max or the dogs, and then I'll be all right. Just put another dog on the bed, and then you're warm enough. Okay, so we looked at MATIC, and we're going to look at KSM. Here we go. Every chart, same correction, same pattern. This one's stuck at the 50% on this weekly chart, and that's pretty annoying because, you know, potentially if we drop here under this 38.2, so we're sideways at a 50% of the entire drop. This is unlike quite a few charts. On this daily, I can actually clearly see here that this was 3 ways down. And so potentially, I think this KSM has a better look for maybe making a bottom here, and potentially this first 5 waves. Here we could see a nice pullback, and the next one should be really strong, but it doesn't change the fact that we're stuck at a 50%. And when you do that, you know, you could be coming back 50%. So it may be that our wave 1 off the lows is finished here. And so 50% back would mean 362. So 362 would be if we break this support where we come back to before we turn up again. So not a disaster. Now, we might not. We are now above this daily 50 moving average. And so if we break this resistance, we're just going to carry on up the ladder, aren't we? So if you're long already, as long as you don't break this red line, or everything is good. So if we close above 424, we're going to go up to 458, 786, and so on. Coty, do you know there's much worse looking charts out? Sorry, KSM. There are much worse looking charts out there than this one. This is a different sequence as well. So this looks like wave 1 complete, and a big. This is a big wave 2 we're doing. So, and if we do that, you can see this came back 50%. So then you rally 50%. So then, you know, mean reverting markets tend to mean revert. Keep doing it, they keep mean reverting. So they'll keep doing 50 back, 50 this way, 50 that way until you get a breakout. So I think that's what we're seeing in KSM. So we're likely to see a 50% pullback here. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at, not then ready yet, still in a correction, but if we break above those highs, then we've broken the pattern and we're on our way up. Okay, next one we're going to look at is UTK. I thought for a minute this was a stock because it's a stock ticker, but here we go. It's also a coin. So let's start with the weekly, see where we are. So here's an example. So you talk, I know I talk all the time. Impulsive waves are 5 waves. The third is usually the strongest, sometimes the 5th is. This can't be the shortest. And then correction waves are 3 waves, and up you go again. The most common correction comes back to the previous wave 4, which would be here. And so, and up again. That's simple stuff. And that's exactly what we've done here in UTK. So we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I didn't draw that well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up. 1, 2, 3 waves of correction. I'm drawing it so messily, it's not funny. Sorry. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C, 3 waves back, and now really strong next wave. So this is wave 1 of 3. This should be really, you know, when this is over, we'll see a pullback, and then the next one will be the really strongest one. So looking really good. So far, though, we need to keep seeing 5 waves, and I think we should do a little wave 4, and then 1 up, and then we'll come back, sorry, to this wave 4, and then carry on. So lovely breakout. Let's not kid ourselves. Lovely breakout. Let's hope we stay above these highs with our wave 4 here and continue higher. this correction is pretty nice and shallow and holding above these previous highs so far. So I really would like to see just a couple of red candles, and then we can buy against this level when it goes green again. So it's not quite there, it's resetting. But yeah, I do really very much like UTK to continue higher on this breakout. And sorry about my dog, 1 second. Okay, so if we measure from the low to the high, from this first swing, we should go at least beyond the equal measured move for our wave 3, but hopefully we could get all the way up, potentially all the way up to 1.618, which would be 1.36. So first target on the we're buying pullbacks. Our first target is 0.969. Our second target is 1.36 for UTK. Buy pullbacks. A very nice chart. Did you buy it? Let's see, did you buy it? So after a really nice upside move here, we pull back 50%, which was a perfect pullback. So here's what I was looking at initially. This was our first rally. We pulled back 50% and double bottomed. Really good sign that this was just a correction, that we were going to go up again, and up we go. The problem is we stalled at the previous highs again, which puts us in a little bit of a sideways range, which is a little bit annoying, to say the least. Could this be that this is one of those irregular corrections? You know, normally you'll have a big rally, your correction will look like this. Sometimes you'll have a big rally and your correction will retest the highs and it'll look like that. Sometimes it'll be a higher high like we've got here. And so it does just mean correction. These swings are three ways, but that's it. So if that's the case here, if we really can't make a new high, our support is going to come at 0.132 and maybe all the way back to the lows at 0.101. But 0.132, which is where we would come back, 61.8 of the first swing, would be where I would be looking for first. So correction not over. One of the confirmations of that, so if you measure from this low to this high with your fib levels, then below the 236 fib usually confirms it. And here we rallied up here, didn't we? Underneath the 236 fib, that's now resistance. So we are in that correction. Okay, a little bit further to fall. Okay. No, my dog barking. She's got to 11 now, nearly 12. My Labrador, the Whippet's 12. You know, and they get old ladies. They're like very fussy. And and I have a chicken in a box, and they're all keep checking on. Did you write XVG? The chicken's all right. She was just getting too much love from the cockerels, so I gave her a bit of break. Okay. Now, let's see what's going on here. Yeah, because, you know, if you think of a downtrend as lower lows and lower highs, to reverse that downtrend, you have to take out one of those lower highs, don't you, to have a higher high. And so that's what we've got a little bit stuck on here. Also a little bit, if we look left, of a support and resistance level around here as well. That's what we have not been able to close above. We're consolidating underneath, but we know that a weekly close above this level, which is 100, and isn't that such a crypto thing? Big round numbers tend to work like that. So a weekly close above 100 would be really super bullish for XVG Bitcoin. Either way you look at it though, this has been a pretty impressive rally. We're holding up, and so I think we're holding our own with Bitcoin. So I don't think, definitely it's not, we can't say that Bitcoin is outperforming XVG yet. So let's look at XVG dollar. Didn't mean to start with Bitcoin chart, but so it's sideways consolidation after getting knocked back at a big level in XVG Bitcoin, and pretty much the same thing going on here. So if we look at the opening, if we look at this opening drop, just trying to find where the levels come. There's that first high. Should probably take my fibs from there. Okay. Okay, so XVG, 38.2, I think we could, this 50% level here in the middle is the most important support right now on this chart. So this is our bear line. Okay, underneath here, we'll see another swing lower and it'll come all the way down to 0.0225 because this is a bigger correction. However, if this is complete, then this previous swing low and this 50% pivot level should hold as support if we're going to keep going higher and race higher from here. So 0.0458 is our bear line. We're bearish underneath it, looking for it to be support, and we're looking to break above 0.56 to be saying we're going up higher. As you know, we're still in the range of the big drop. We're not really, for sure, going up again. And we're at one of those levels where you can go back and forward for a while between the 61.8 and 38.2. So let's hope we don't continue that. So above 0.56, happy days. These moving averages are pretty supportive now. We're holding them underneath them. This is a really bullish candlestick pattern. When you have a big up and then you have three little inside bars that don't close more than 50% down, which we haven't here. That's three methods, rising three methods, falling, I can't remember. It's bullish anyway. Three little inside bars like this is really bullish. The next one should see us break this to the upside. So we're looking for a break above 0.05623 in tomorrow or the next day in XVG dollar to say that we have bottomed and we're going up again. And this time we would like to see some strong movement. So I think it's, although it's not at new highs or trending, I think it's looking good to make a move XVG. Let's talk about Wabi. This funny little chart breakout. Hooray! When we were looking at it in this thing, we wanted it above the orange line and above this moving average. That's what we've done today. Whenever you see this though, let's take everything else off. The danger, if this is just a correction, will be if this is just an ABC thing, won't it? That'll mean that the whole rally was just a correction. So that's our danger level that we've stopped at. So the confirmation that this was just an ABC is if we break this 61.8 here, 1180. Let me make sure it's all lined up right, because this isn't working. Okay. There we go. So a close underneath 1162, get out of Wabi. This whole rally was just a correction. Kalawale. Do you know I was a bit of a magpie. So I probably, I read a lot of books about Elliott wave and how to count the waves, and I read different books about Fibonacci and funny rules. And then I figured out some stuff that weren't in any books as well. So I would say just read everything you can. You know, there's a really good way, if you don't know anything about technical analysis, okay, there's Pipsology, hold on. Okay, this is for forex traders. Okay, the website is called babypips.com. See that? Babypips.com. School of Pipsology. So a pip is the smallest chart movement you can get in foreign exchange. So it's one price movement. So it's like $1 if you were trading Bitcoin. And they have a school for how to learn forex and how to learn technical analysis, which I think is the best thing on the internet. Okay, and you do it as a course, so you don't need a book or anything else. Okay, so you start a course. When you go to the course, right, the first section is about forex traders and forex exchange. So you can skip that because you don't really want to learn how to trade forex, do you? But then after that, after this first section, all of the rest is technical analysis, and you can do it in modules. Okay, so we're going to skip preschool. And you can literally learn all of the good things one by one. So, we see the Rhapsody in Blue. So if you're absolutely new to reading charts, I don't think there's anything better than Baby Skip Pip's School of Pipsology. Okay? It's really good basic material. How to draw fibs, how to moving averages, what are they, how do they work, how to recognize divergence. It's excellent, an excellent resource. I also think that trading on your own isn't good. I think if you can trade in a group, we've got a really active Slack group where people talk about charts all the time and discuss, and so I think that that's also very helpful to learn. Right, Wabi. We're bears below 1162. 1162 should be support if we're going to keep going higher. Otherwise, this was unfortunately just a bounce, and we've got another swing lower to come, or a deeper correction for Wabi Bitcoin. I'm not sure. Can you trade Wabi against dollar? Oh, yes, you can. So if we Uniswap, hold on, nowhere else you can though, can you? Binance, no, calculated. Wabi Bitcoin or Wabi BNB, so I'll leave it at that, but there you go. Errol, it's very good, isn't it? Baby Pips is very good. All right then. And it's free. Like, do you know, 20 years ago, there was none of this stuff on the internet. Like, do you know, when I bought my first stocks, and I would chart their progress on graph paper, like with pencil, I would draw it. So like I would draw my own graphs, which is crazy when you think about it now, because I'm not even that, you know, I mean, I'm old, but I'm not bloody ancient. Anyway. Okay. So Wabi, Phil, Cream, HDR. Let's take a look at some more. So Phil, I was quite liking Phil. How are we doing with Phil? Let's see. No, take that. No. Anyway, people in England, did you have a good bank holiday? It was, as usual, absolutely freezing, wasn't it? So I was looking for a nice breakout here. Now, see this trend line? You need 3 touches for a trend line. Okay? So you have 1, 2, and then the third touch you expect to be a false breakout. So this trend line really isn't a trend line. I think we've got a little bit of a sideways range going on here, and so we need to be a little bit careful. Let's look at the weekly and see where we are. Like, hopefully. Yeah, you see, this should be a wave 4. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. But let's see what the fibs say, where we are. 50%, and we've come back 50%, so we should be getting ready to rally. So the problem is probably that this is another 50% thing, which is not good, because we need to break out. Okay. No, I think we've got a little bit further to go, actually. I think our danger area in Phil, because we keep doing 50%, 50%, it's going to come at these highs. So 184.98. So Phil should go higher from here. And our support should be here. This 236 fib. And this daily 20 moving average. And again, you know, with Japanese candlesticks, if you don't close, if you have a big thrust candle like this, and you don't close more than 50% down, you're still in that uptrend, and this, you're still under the influence of this big green thrust candle. Same with here, look, lovely big green thrust candle, three rising through, up we go again. 3 little inside bars and up we go. So pretty good. Let's look for 156 to hold as support, and we keep going higher to our target and fill by dips. Okay, I try and look at Neo at the end. I'm not having a good night, really, but us, Neo has, yeah, I'll see what I can do. Cream HDR. Cake and cream, you're being spoiled tonight, right? Okay. We're going to look at our weekly chart. Take that off. Now, I've put my fib on from this low to this high. Where did we pull back to? We pulled back to the 786 and made a double bottom. And when you do that, your target, your minimum target is the 38.2. And we haven't got there yet. So I'm going to say that we should continue higher here in cream US dollar on the weekly. So although we looked a little bit stalled at these previous highs, it should just be temporary, and we should at some point continue higher to at least this 38.2 and potentially this 236 fib. And I'm going to say if we end up making a head and shoulders pattern here, it's going to be the higher one just to meet the pattern target. So looking pretty good, although we're sideways. Yeah, I think definitely looking good. Let's hide those and do this quickly. See where that is. Okay, so that's probably 50. Let's spin them. So this 38.2 fib is the resistance, 193.55, and our support in cream is this 236 fib for now. We could do a deeper dip back to these moving averages, so I'm not going to rule it out, but I'm not a bear. I think that this is a nice correction, should see 3-wave correction and then carry on up again. So 1, 2, 3, and then 3, and then up. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, okay. HTR. Let's see what that one is. Quickly, HTR. Hathor. Okay. So we've completed 5 waves up. We are making a funky 3-wave correction here, like this. So this is the first swing, like that. And where have we retraced to? I think we've done a nice 50% retrace. We have. Usually a good sign of a correction. This pullback to the 50%. I know I didn't do it from the high. Even if I did it from the high, it would still be a 50%, but just because I did that just because I think this is funky. And so then from this re-high here, we should be looking for this to be 50% going like this. And that's where we're stuck. And then if we do it from the lows, probably where we're stuck now is 50%, look. So now, you know, you do this in a narrower and narrower range. When you keep mean reverting, you keep doing 50% back, you do it in a narrower and narrower range until you break out. So if we break lower from here, we've broken the pattern and we're going down, not up. And that's at 1.16. And above 1.42, a close above 142, would also need for me to close above this daily 50 moving average, which you can see here. And then I'm super bullish, bottoms in. But when you do that, 50%, 50%, 50%, that's the problem. Okay, so NEO, I will look at Doge because everybody wants to know what Doge is doing. I will look at Doge as well and XEQ. Okay. So what is going on with NEO? NEO is stuck. There's that, I know I talk about it a lot, golden ratio zone, where you get stuck between the 61.8 and the 38.2. And that's what we're doing in NEO. Normally when you do this, you would expect the 50% in the middle to act as a bit of a pivot. In this case it's not, but we are doing that at 60. I would now, if we come back and retest it, expect it to hold as support and then carry on back to the top of the range. 101 is the support, 124 is the resistance. And so if you were looking for a short-term trade, buy it at 101 to 124. Otherwise, and then we're looking for a breakout in NEO US dollar. But we're in that consolidation zone in the middle. Sideways with not really much of a trend. If we look at our 4 hours or our hourly moving averages, you can see that they're almost flat here in the middle. They're all in the same place. That usually means not a strong trend anyway. Okay, Doge, and then now Doge. Let's take off. I can actually go to the daily. For me to be bullish, like sometimes, I have a friend I used to trade quite a lot with RSI as well. Closes are important because RSI is based on closes. And whenever you see a higher daily close, even if you haven't closed above these tails, this is a bullish sign. So, 0.408. Tigger, come on, Tiggy. And I am looking for this to keep going higher, and this is a wave 4 finished, so I think so. Let's just actually, I think this is a subwave for wait, 1, 2, 3. So yeah, no, wave 4. This is a wave 4 that we're working on. And this is wave 2 here. So it's something similar in scale to this. So I feel like this has got a bit more time. But if I've miscounted it and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and we've got one more swing higher here, then this is it. And I think that's probably what we're looking at. Okay. So 1. Why is that switched off? 0.6 and 0.887 next for Doge? Points. If we make a new high, 0.609. Tigger knows the Dogeness is here. Yeah, I think this is just a subway fall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 0.609 and maybe 0.887 Doge dollar. Very important that we do make that new high. Yeah. Okay. So watch out for trouble at 0.437, but 0.609 is the next upside target. Let's quickly look. What was it? XEQ. Okay, let's see. XEQ. What exchanges is XEQ on? I might have to look at it next week for you. If it's not on TradingView, I haven't got any of the Chartex or those other platforms available, so I don't think I can look at it tonight. Okay, I'm going to call it there. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for coming. See you